Before the pyramids rose, before the flood swept the earth, and long before empires ruled the world, there was a secret so strange, so terrifying, it was nearly erased from history. They were called the Nephilim, giants, mighty ones, creatures born from a forbidden union, where the divine touched the mortal and created something unnatural. The Bible mentions them only briefly, but what it does say shakes the foundation of everything we think we know about early humanity. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. They were the mighty men of old, men of renown. Genesis 6:4. For centuries, theologians, scholars, and even skeptics have wrestled with this verse. Who were the sons of God? Why did their union with human women produce giants? And perhaps more importantly, what happened to them? Some argue the sons of God were simply human kings, but that explanation ignores the oldest interpretations, those held by the Hebrews themselves. They believed these were angelic beings, part of a divine rebellion who descended from heaven and took human women for themselves. They were called the Watchers. According to the ancient Book of Enoch, a group of 200 angels made a pact to defy God. They descended to Mount Hermon, took wives from among humanity, and fathered monstrous children, the Nephilim. But these giants were not just tall, they were terrifying. Described as violent, insatiable, and godless, the Nephilim brought chaos to the world. They consumed the resources of mankind, then turned to bloodshed. They taught sorcery, astrology, weapons making. The forbidden knowledge they introduced infected every corner of society. And so the earth groaned. God's response was not subtle. The flood was not just to cleanse sin, it was to purge a species. The Nephilim had crossed the line between heaven and earth. Their very existence was a corruption of God's design. But even then, they didn't vanish entirely, because the verse says, and also afterward. After the flood, somehow the Nephilim, or at least their influence, survived. They appear again, in the lands of Canaan before Joshua's conquests, in the form of tribes like the Anakim, the Rephaim, the Zamzummim, nations of giants. Goliath, the towering Philistine killed by David, was a descendant of these bloodlines. He wasn't alone. The Bible speaks of his brothers, one with 6 fingers and 6 toes. So the question is, how did they return? Some scholars suggest that one of Noah's daughters-in-law may have carried Nephilim genes. Others believe that after the flood, another group of watchers repeated the sin. Either way, what was once wiped out returned. And it wasn't just in Israel. Ancient legends from around the world speak of giants. In Mesopotamia, they were the Anunnaki, sky gods who mated with humans. In Greece, the Titans, beings of great strength, born from the heavens, overthrown by younger gods. In the Americas, indigenous tribes speak of white giants, builders of stone cities whose bones were found in caves. Throughout the 1800s and early 1900s, newspapers across the United States reported the discovery of giant human skeletons, some over 9 feet tall, unearthed in burial mounds and caves. Many of these skeletons allegedly vanished after being turned over to major institutions. And in modern times, the whispers haven't stopped, only the language has changed. Where ancient texts spoke of angelic beings descending from heaven, today we speak of aliens. Where ancient people told stories of hybrids, modern scientists speak of genetic editing, transhumanism, and merging man with machine. Have the Nephilim returned in a different form? The Bible hints at this possibility. In Daniel 2:43, the prophet describes a mysterious final kingdom made of iron and clay. They will mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they will not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Who is they? And why are they contrasted with the seed of men? Some believe this is prophecy, predicting a future time where, once again, something non-human mingles with humanity, just like in the days of Noah. And Jesus himself warned, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man." So if Jesus warned us that the days of Noah would return, what exactly characterized those days? Yes, there was violence. Yes, there was rebellion. But the most defining trait of the pre-flood world was this: humanity was being genetically and spiritually corrupted. The lines between heaven and earth were blurred, and God was grieved. If history is cyclical, and it is, then the world we're entering may not be a modern era at all, but a revival of the ancient one. Just look around. The signs are not hiding. We are obsessed with progress, particularly the kind that alters what it means to be human. Designer babies, CRISPR gene editing, artificial intelligence promising to evolve the human brain, men seeking to live forever, to upload consciousness, to create life in laboratories. This is not just science. It's the same temptation from Eden, wrapped in glowing screens and sterile technology. You will not surely die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God. Satan hasn't changed his message. He's just updated the packaging. And here's the terrifying part. According to Enoch, when the Nephilim died in the flood, their spirits did not return to God. They were trapped on earth, wandering, disembodied. What we now call unclean spirits, the demons Jesus cast out, may very well be the ghosts of giants, the offspring of heaven and earth cursed to walk the earth in hunger, rage, and torment. It would explain why demons crave a body, why they're territorial, why they whisper forbidden knowledge to those who listen. They remember what they once were and what they've lost. And in the final days, some believe these spirits will return in power. Revelation speaks of locust-like beings rising from the abyss, of fallen angels released from imprisonment, of a time when the veil between the physical and spiritual realms is torn wide open. It won't be fantasy. It won't be science fiction. It will be the return of the Nephilim spirit in ideology, in deception, and perhaps even in flesh. Some say this is already happening, that secret societies carry ancient bloodlines, that monuments across the world bear the markings of Nephilim technology, that governments are hiding truths about giants, ancient tech, and celestial visitors. And though some of these theories lean toward the extreme, here's what we do know. The same spirit of pride and rebellion that birthed the Nephilim is alive and well today. It's in every movement that seeks to erase God's design. It's in every institution that calls evil good and good evil. It's in every push to improve humanity by remaking it. And it's in the church too. In the compromise, in the silence, in the refusal to confront the supernatural roots of our faith. We've been trained to treat the Bible like a book of moral lessons, but it's a record of cosmic warfare, of a God who intervenes in history, of angels, demons, giants, prophets, and a Savior who walked on water, healed the blind, and rose from the dead. The war that began before the flood is about to end, and the final battle will not be fought with swords or spears, but with truth. Because deception is the enemy's greatest weapon. He doesn't need to destroy the world if he can convince it he never existed. So what do? How do we prepare? We remember that Jesus has already won, that the cross broke every chain, that his blood cleanses every corruption, that no spirit, giant or otherwise, can stand in the presence of the Son of God. But we must also wake up. We must stop ignoring the supernatural, stop hiding from the uncomfortable, stop treating spiritual warfare like metaphor, because the giants may not walk among us in physical form, but their legacy, their ideas do. And unless we shine light on them, we risk letting them rise again. So what happened to the Nephilim after the flood? Where did their spirits go? Why did Jesus descend into the lower parts of the earth after his death? What did he proclaim to the imprisoned watchers? And what role do the Nephilim and the fallen angels who created them play in the end times prophecy we're watching unfold? In our next episode, we'll go even deeper, uncovering the Book of Enoch, the Watcher Rebellion, and the chains of darkness that still hold secrets waiting to be revealed. Don't miss it. If this episode opened your eyes, share it. Let others see that the ancient stories are more than myth. They are the key to understanding where we came from and where we're going. Subscribe now for more biblical deep dives, spiritual mysteries, and scriptural truth brought to light. And let us know in the comments, do you believe the Nephilim are gone or just hidden in plain sight? Let's uncover the truth together.